How dare you take a game off? How dare you come into a game with a starting lineup that we all could see was picked today because you're thinking about Pirates over the weekend or next week? How dare you play a centre-back pairing of Cross, of Quinica? You bring in Mashiani, who's been out in the cold for such a long time. How dare you then take Mart and put him to right back and take out Cele? Where do you get the idea, the right to look and say, we don't need to play versus Marumo Gallants? Especially when top 8 is not secured. The teams around us are so close. They've got games in hand, some of us. This could look a whole different way in the next few weeks. Yet you choose to take this game off. And I think that is my problem with what has been happening at Kaizer Chiefs, this season. We've seen better coaching when they play versus Sundowns, when they play versus Orlando Pirates. We've seen better attitude, better effort. But what affords you the opportunity to be able to take these games lightly? To look to the future. Oh, next season we're going to get new players. Oh, next week we're playing Pirates, therefore we need to do this. Oh, next week let's rest this one. Your actions tell you more about what a team wants to actually do than all of the words that have been spoken about how important it is to get Chiefs back online. I've said this a few times, quite a few times, that personally I don't mind the loss. But I mind how you lose. I mind that we watched the first half where it looked like both teams, outside of the Lilepo goal, it looks like both teams they didn't know what they came to do. It felt like they just came together and they were having a Saturday kickabout, a grounding, for fun. Both teams came out with a lack of intensity. Tell me what build-up move Chiefs had that was going to get them the goal. How were they meant to score in that game? Because the only time we saw them start to move in a certain way and show some effort is later on in the game when they're 2-1 down. And now you're chasing a game. I don't know if that is the excitement that Chiefs is looking for them to play well. The excitement of a big game, the excitement of having to chase. You need to be able to wake up for all of these games because this is where you are, number 9. And the Sundowns win really did paper over some cracks. But let's look at the game. From minute 1, you could see that Marumo Gallants was going to take advantage of the fact that Quinica and Cross were not playing together. Had not played together, were not a centre-back pairing that we'd seen before. And they had no cover. Dylan Solomons was still making similar mistakes, but what was scary was the amount of times that balls were played into the box that Marumo Gallants basically fluffed. They should have done a lot better with the balls that had played in, and because of the positioning of our centre-backs, you didn't see what was going on. We didn't have cover for the said centre-backs. So at the very least, if you know that the centre-backs are not good or have not played together, they don't have a chemistry, make sure that your central defensive midfielders can cover them. And we saw the same old Mart pushing forward. Cele maybe looked a little bit tired. Maybe that's why he was taken off. But it was ineffective. Okay, so I know I stopped the video a lot, and a lot of you are wondering, why are you asking for money? So I wanted to show you. I asked for money because I want to do more of this. But the truth of the matter is that it took over an hour in order just to render that shot. And it takes even longer when I'm doing my normal content because, guys, here's the unsung hero of the channel. And unfortunately, Shem, wazama, but the screen is broken. I have to use a second screen and the performance is not up to it. So I'd really love to upgrade things like that. And when you look over here, this is what the setup looks like. Rehenga di patlo and rehenga di green screen, which is a reality of being a South African content creator. Also, this is what people think is my studio. It's actually my house. So if you still don't know that I'm doing all of this from my home, then I don't know. But that is essentially what I want to do. More of these cool things. But I need you guys to please help me out by donating 50 Rand or more into this account. You know, we're fighting for multi-choice. And multi-choice, but there's subscription models all over the place. And I'd love to give the biggest quality while also being able to pay my rent and do things like that. That is where your money is going. And I promise to give you only the best content that I can if you do throw something in. So I just wanted to show you guys what I want to do with your money. I want to take this South African football and fulfill my dream of taking it into the future. But thank you guys so much. Remember, this is the bank account that you deposit into. Get back into the video. I was happy with Lepo's goal because that's what we've been asking for at the very least. Take a person on, shoot and score. On the other side, Duba missed the chance that I spoke about yesterday in one of my reviews. Ahly had a chance in a very similar place where at the very least you need to hit the goalkeeper. Their goal came from a similar angle, similar everything. They even had a shot afterwards that Williams had to save from an even tighter angle. But this is what our strikers in South Africa have to give us in terms of finishing. I think the middle was open because I'm not quite sure what role Shabalala is meant to play. I'm not quite sure what role Dupriz is meant to play. I'm not quite sure what role Duba is meant to play. I'm not quite sure what role Lilepo is meant to play. Because it feels like all those players were just put in to do something. And I've said for weeks that the problem with the front of Chiefs is that we're not quite sure what roles the different players are meant to occupy. And sometimes it's just as easy as making sure that the players are well positioned and well drilled and are played to their strengths. So Dupriz has pace. It doesn't mean that he's a winger. So when you put him on the wing, you lose cover for Solomons or Mart towards the end, and you lose the ability to find the final ball if you were to beat a defender on the right-hand side. You look at Clodili Lepo, who's being played on the left wing. You can tell that he's a player that wants to get into the action and maybe should play more centrally. But what happens is that you get one move from the left-hand side and there's a goal. But then you don't see him for the rest of the game. Ushabalala is an incredible energy player. He's got such great energy. But he's not a final ball man. And if you give him free roll to run all over the place without telling him what to do, then you lose him for a long time in the game. And what's I guess irritating most about this Chiefs team is that you see glimpses of what they can be. So if Shabalala can be taught to stay in the 10, he played an incredible pass to Duba, who tried his best to finish it, hit the post, unlucky. But those are the type of things that you should be seeing over and over and over again, so that we see that it's not just us relying on the natural ability of these players, but you're actually coming out with a plan. One of the greatest examples is a player I've been speaking about over and over and over again for the past few weeks, Bradley Cross. I hope that now we see what I'd been speaking about months ago, that Bradley Cross is not a bad player, but you need to play him in places where he can be comfortable. I think at times when we had the ball, he looked incredible in the centre back. He was so composed. When he's been playing as a third centre back in previous games instead of playing as a left back or not being asked to push up, look at how incredible he's looked. He actually snuffed out a couple of the chances for Marumo Gallants. So you need to start playing these guys towards their strengths, and you'll start to see the magic. Do you know how happy I was towards the end of the game where I saw a hanging cross that was played to Castillo with a late run, which is something we've been asking for maybe a season and a half. But it can't be a situation where these things come down to luck, where these things come down to Marumo Gallants having a 2-1 lead, Kaizer Chiefs being under pressure, them deciding to sit back, and now you start to see those things in a pressure situation. You can't take 70-80% of a game off. You have to play. And for me, I will repeat again, I don't mind the loss. But when you lose knowing that there was a direction for that game, knowing that maybe you were unlucky, knowing that maybe the other team was just that much better. But if I was to give you a video of this game and I say, pick out all the parts where you could see that this came from the training ground, you wouldn't be able to find many. And for me, that is the biggest problem with Kaizer Chiefs right now. The problem is not going to be fixed by a magical player that's going to come in. The problems are not going to be fixed by a magical coach. I think we all thought Nabi was going to be this magical coach who comes in and you know, all of a sudden changes everything. You need to be committed. And what's interesting about the Kaizer Chiefs is that the pitch mirrors what's happening back in the back. Throwing things onto the wall and hoping that one of them works cannot work right now. And yesterday with the Champions League, I spoke about the egos of teams. And Kaizer Chiefs has a massive ego to not want to fix itself in the moment, but hoping that something in the future will just knock it. They're going to wake up one day and be a world-class team. And unfortunately for Nabi, that just means that right now, you may have to play an ugly ball. You don't have the luxury of playing a beautiful ball. You don't have the luxury of talking about pirates and talking about all of these lofty dreams that you have. You have to go and face the Marumo Gallants and beat them as part of what you need to do to make sure that Chiefs is in a nice place. Or else, you pick up exactly where you left off now. Like, I just wish we could have a plan. Just go to sit down and say, okay guys, you're going to position like this. We're going to move the ball from here to here, from here to here. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, even if it has to be in steps or anything like that. But we need to start fixing. We need to start doing well with these things now and trying to fix some of the problems, get our players into some good positions. Because the truth of the matter is that this is year 10. And the sad part is that these same players, the same coach, the same structure, the same everything is going to look incredible versus Pirates next week. They're going to be switched on. They're going to be focused. There was a caller on my live show that said that these players are playing with adrenaline, the adrenaline of the big game, the adrenaline of losing. That's when they wake up. They need to find a way to play more of these games, and you can't take these games off. I think we are taking for granted where the club is right now. And this needs a lot of action. Gallants is literally draw with points. There's teams below Kaizer Chiefs right now. They're actually showing it on TV. Let me see. Kaizer Chiefs is on 30 points. Gallants is on 30 points. Magesi is on 28 points. They've got a game in hand. They could go to 31. They win their one. They jump Chiefs. Arrows has got 22 games. They've got 3 games in hand, which means that if by chance they win all 3 of those games, they go to 35. They jump Chiefs. Now again, you are sitting in a relegation threatened place. And you're not taking it seriously in the moment. Because you are looking at this thing. And then you wake up and it's now a decade. I know this wasn't an analysis of the game. But we need to take this thing seriously. Well done to Marumo Gallants for their 2-1 win. I'll see you guys on the next one.